Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch You Want, and thanks for logging on. Well, I'm back with our Rolex Lug-to-Lug measurement, fit, and feel feature where I'm discussing not so much individual watches to purchase, but a general approach to buying watches based on the lug-to-lug measurements and how they actually impact the on-the-wrist feel and fit of the watch. Now, I was going to do a full vintage feature. I was going to headline with this red Submariner Mark IV dial, but two of the bubble backs that I had were actually sold out from under me as I prepped the video. So in lieu of the 1675 late Pepsi bezel and the roughly 2.7 million serial number Mark IV red sub here, I've added a little 5-digit reference, double quick set, day-date. I hope you don't mind the substitution. This one plays nicely because it has a solid end link president bracelet and it's instructive in its own way. So we're going to lead off with the Rockstar, which is the 1680 red sub. Now, like I said, it is a Mark IV dial for those of you who are interested in such things. Considered to be a bit of a gateway drug to hardcore vintage Rolex. From here, you start looking for Bart Simpson dials, Paul Newmans, Jean-Claude Killy's, and whatnot. But it starts here, and it starts with a remarkably original watch. Now, this one does have the period-correct 9315 folded link bracelet with 280 end pieces and a bracelet clasp stamped first quarter of 1972, which is the correct time frame for this watch. And you can see on the wrist 47 millimeters from lug to lug. This one fits quite compact. Now the case is more pared down than a contemporary Rolex Submariner. Even though the nominal measurement is about the same at 40 millimeters, there's a world of difference between the way this one fits and feels. Not just in terms of its 47 millimeter lug to lug measurement, but in terms of the way the hollow end links affect the fit and the feel and the outright measurements of the watch. Now, I mentioned in my showcase of contemporary Rolex that the solid end link adds about 1.5 to 2 millimeters of span per side. So you have to add that to the effective lug-to-lug measurement. Here, that hollow end piece flexes with the bracelet rather than projecting out. So if it measures 47 lug-to-lug, it wears 47. This is a great choice if you want to watch with the wieldy lightness, the elegance, the sort of pared down spare look of a dress watch that can also pull off a convincing sports watch aesthetic. Very much a collectible. This is a watch that has a no-holds-barred sports utility look, but at the same time will go well with anything. And given my wrist is only 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, it'll go well with almost any wrist. A beautiful piece to wear. Vintage is the answer if modern Rolex just doesn't get along with your wrist. Now, moving on to a close relative, we're going to jump a little bit further forward in the age of panel vans and earth tones. Now we're looking at a late 1675 with the Pepsi bezel. Now you can see all the features of the later 1675s here. You can see the matte tritium dial. You can see the big GMT hand triangle, very full, broad crown guards. And I'll mention that this one's on a slightly later 93-150 bracelet, so you can see not the folded links right here, but this particular bracelet's very robust and retains the characteristic hollow end links. So at 47 millimeters from lug to lug with the hollow end links, it wears exactly like the 1680 sub on the wrist. Feels the same, eyes closed, it is the same. So the nice thing is it has that pared down profile, the easy fit, and the short lug-to-lug span of a vintage piece. It's a great option, again, if you're looking at something that's just a bit smaller than today's 6-digit super case GMT-Master 2. Very easy to wear. And finally, I want to focus on a watch that's a little bit more contemporary than the others, but at the same time is nicely representative of the current Rolex Day-Date 6-digit case because, frankly, among the canonical Rolex references and model lines, the Day-Date has probably changed the least since its introduction. Always a 36 millimeter watch, pretty much always in precious metal with the exception of some prototypes. This one wears very easy on the wrist. Now, 36 millimeters equates to roughly 44 millimeters lug to lug. This is the double quickset generation, and it does have solid end links on the iconic Rolex President bracelet. So what you'll see here is a simulacrum of the center links on the President, but it is actually a rigid member, and what it does is it creates the same effect as the solid end link oysters. That is, it adds about 1.5 to 2 millimeters per side in the lug-to-lug measurement. So 44 millimeters lug-to-lug wears approximately 47, 48 millimeters lug-to-lug as a result of those solid end pieces. but with a full gold construction, case, bezel, bracelet, it has a lot of substance to it. It wears like a larger watch in terms of mass, but nicely pared down. Probably the best of the three when worn with a suit or a tight sleeve. So this is the ultimate in dress reference. It can get wet, that's not a problem, but this one generally isn't a watch for splish splash. It's not one for the public pool. I wouldn't go surfing in it. In terms of fit though, you'll have no problems. Between the nicely pared down minimalist case, 44 millimeters lug-to-lug, effectively 47-48, and the supple feel of the 3-link President bracelet on the wrist, this is a very comfortable watch, and that's what all three of these watches have in common. If you're looking for something that wears a little bit finer, a little bit easier, a little bit more the fit, the feel, the refinement of a dress watch, any of these, whether sports watches or formal dress watches like this Day-Date, are a great choice. Now the next in the series is going to be a lug-to-lug comparison of Audemars Piguet references, principally Royal Oaks, but I'm more than willing to take suggestions or requests for future editions of this feature, because I know that fit and lug-to-lug measurements are among the greatest mysteries faced by online buyers of luxury watches, because you really never know in the mail, because most websites simply don't list lug-to-lug or talk about it, how a watch is going to fit. So while Audemars Piguet is on deck, and first up will be various Royal Oak and offshore variants, I'm more than willing to come back to Rolex or recap any of these watches if there's any way I can clarify their fit, their feel, or their measurements. I'm Tim, and if you like these videos, please subscribe to our website, watchyouwant.com, Watch You Want Inc. on YouTube.